The controversy over Tucker Carlson interviewing self-proclaimed white nationalist, anti-Semite, lots of other terrible things, Nick Fuentes, is ongoing. I haven't said much about it, but I do have some thoughts about it. I don't like Nick Fuentes, but he has a large following. He has a large following among young men on the right. This comes in the midst of the U.S. giving billions of dollars to Israel to basically carry out a genocide in Palestine and Gaza, killing women and children and whatnot. And if you look at the polls, a majority of Americans are now not as sympathetic towards Israel as they were certainly after October 7th when Hamas terrorized Israel. And if you look at younger people, Democrats across the board are not sympathetic to Israel. If you look at younger Republicans, younger conservatives, a majority now are not sympathetic to Israel and don't like what's going on there. So criticizing the carnage that is being carried out with U.S. dollars by Israel's government in Gaza, criticizing that awful situation is not anti-Semitic. Can I see younger people who are horrified by that drifting into something that is genuinely anti-Semitic? Yes, and that's dangerous. And when I watched Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes, that's what I saw, was a guy, Tucker Carlson, saying collective guilt is not okay, which is what racism is, including anti-Semitism. Penalizing a people, targeting a people, blaming a people collectively, not as individuals, collectively because of their ethnicity, is bad. And that's what anti-Semitism is. And that's what Nick Fuentes has espoused as an admitted anti-Semite. Tucker Carlson explained that to him and said that was bad. And it was what it was. But that also applies to neoconservatives in the United States, people who think what Israel's doing in Palestine is good, blanket blaming an entire people, being the Palestinians, and just carrying out a genocide against them because they're Palestinians, because of their ethnicity and where they are geographically. That's just as bad. So in this whole mess, this controversy of Tucker interviewing Nick Fuentes, and by the way, Nick Fuentes, who I don't like and I think is genuinely a bad person on many levels, has a large following. I think it's good to confront this. I think Tucker was right to do it. Dave Smith, the libertarian comedian, somebody I consider a friend, interviewed him as well. So did Glenn Greenwald, somebody who I look up to, who's a progressive journalist, independent journalist, interviewed Nick Fuentes. They all did so with the purpose of, this guy's got a big audience, it's growing. What do we do with this? Let's talk to this guy. Let's make some sense of this. And I think Tucker did a good job in saying blaming people collectively is bad. Okay, that's what happened with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes interview and the controversy that ensued. Let's talk about the controversy for a second, because what has come in the wake of this is something, there's a subtext that I think a lot of people aren't getting. Everybody wants to make it about, do you support anti-Semitism or are you against anti-Semitism? For the record, I'm against anti-Semitism, as any normal, rational, moral person should be, as I think Tucker is and some of the other people I've mentioned. Certainly. Glenn Greenwald's Jewish, for Pete's sake. Come on, he interviewed Nick Fuentes. What's going on, the subtext to this, is the debate within the American right, the Republican Party, about what is MAGA going to be going forward once Trump is no longer in the driver's seat. You have one faction, the neoconservatives, who have been in charge of defining what it means to be a conservative Republican, especially on foreign policy, for a very long time. I'm talking about your George W. Bush, Dick Cheney type Republicans. And in a modern context, I would include in that category certainly Lindsey Graham. Ted Cruz is in that category. When you get the pundits, you've got Ben Shapiro. Mark Levin is hella neocon, big time. All those people want to make MAGA what MAGA originally fought against. When Trump ran for president, he said we're going to end endless wars. He said that Bush lied about WMDs and going into Iraq. He said all that stuff. He said it to Jeb Bush's face. And that was the original groundswell of the populist movement that Donald Trump inspired. It's why a lot of people voted for him in 2016. It's why it carried him to win the second term in the White House in 2024. That's what MAGA was. Here we are almost a year into Trump's presidency, and Donald Trump is throwing his arms around Lindsey Graham. And he's doing all these neocon things and wanting to go to war, regime change, maybe in Venezuela. All these other things. There's some good things, there's some bad things, but far more neocon than I ever expected. I voted for Trump in 2024. Don't regret that vote, but I am disappointed in a lot of what I'm seeing right now. The subtext to this thing with Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and charges of anti-Semitism and whatnot is that the neoconservatives who have been in charge of the Republican Party and the American right for at least 2 decades plus want to make MAGA a pro-war, pro-interventionist, big government movement that defines a Republican Party. They want to regraft or refabricate, or they want to make MAGA Bush Cheney. That's what they want. That's what Mark Levin wants. That's what Lindsey Graham wants. That's what Ted Cruz wants. That's what they're trying to do. Then there's those of us, myself included. I'm a very small person within this. Nobody knows who I am or whatever, but I make these videos, been doing it for a long time, whatever. But you've got Tucker Carlson. You've got Dave Smith. You've got Thomas Massie, who Trump doesn't like a lot of the time. You've got my former boss, Senator Rand Paul, who Trump doesn't like a lot of the time. You've got people like Megyn Kelly and others, Dave Smith, Glenn Greenwald, who's not even a right-winger, but he's part of this mix, who understand that the neocons are bad, that MAGA was supposed to stand for America first, not Israel first, and we weren't supposed to have endless wars and keep doing the things we've been doing. That's the subtext of this entire debate. A lot of the people who are saying, oh, Tucker's horrible, and he's platforming racism or whatever, some of that is genuine, but a lot of it is not. I would say the majority of it is not. Their main concern is that the American right promotes an interventionist, neoconservative foreign policy. That's their main deal. Laura Loomer is racist as hell, but she's pro-Israel. You'll never see the neocons condemn her because she's pro-Israel. Randy Fine, that stupid-ass congressman from Florida, celebrates killing babies in Palestine in the most ghoulish ways possible. And you will never see a single Republican, a neocon Republican anyways, Massie or Rand Paul might say something nasty about him, but a neocon Republican condemn Randy Fine. Why? Because he's pro-Israel. He can talk about killing babies. He could be racist as hell. They don't care because he's pro-Israel. That's what's really going on. This entire debate, whether people can see it or not, is about the future of the Republican Party, what it means to be MAGA, what it means to be a conservative, and what it means to have a Republican foreign policy. If you're genuine MAGA, Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like that, what it means to be MAGA is we're going to get rid of endless wars, we're going to be non-interventionists, and we're going to put America first. If you're Mark Levin, if you're Lindsey Graham, and you're throwing your arms around MAGA, what you want MAGA to be is Israel first. We put that above the interests of our own country, above the interests of anything else, and no matter how many children are slaughtered in Gaza or whatever, you defend that. That's what they want MAGA to be, and that's what this debate is about. So, I'm on the side of Tucker Carlson, I'm on the side of Matt Gaetz, I'm on the side of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, and all these people who can see through this BS and they want to put America first. MAGA started as America first, and that's what it should remain, and the moment it becomes Israel first, which is what this debate is about, that's what they really want, MAGA was a complete joke to begin with.